Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com. This video is the 7 habits of a highly effective Miles. Been thinking a lot about habits and how habits are either supporting you or they're hindering you from creating the business and the marketing campaigns that you ultimately desire. As an entrepreneur, one of the big questions is, how can I get more done in less time? How can I be more effective with the time that I'm putting in on my business? That really is everything. So I took some time to come up with my 7 habits that I've implemented in my life and I feel like are giving me massive rewards towards growing my business, growing my audience, and essentially living the kind of lifestyle freedom that I truly desire. Quick note before we jump into the slideshow, I made a little PowerPoint for this for you. These are my habits. These are for me personally, based on my personality and just my experiences. I'm not saying you have to do these, right? I'm just sharing what I feel are the 7 most valuable habits I've built over the last 10 years of becoming a full-time kind of a successful digital entrepreneur. Take the ones that work for you. If some don't work for you, that's great too. Just be aware that I'm not telling you these are the ones you need to adapt. These are just the ones that I chose to adapt. So it worked for me. Your mileage may vary. With that note, let's go in and jump to it. So again, the 7 habits of highly effective Miles, and I'm excited to share. Number 1, and this is a huge one, and you've probably heard me talk about this before, is to create more than I consume. One of the biggest kind of hurdles to get over as a digital entrepreneur is to become a producer, a net producer of content versus a consumer of content. You ultimately need to shift that brain into production mode, which is why I recommend so highly the 90-day challenge. That's a way to really flex that muscle enough times over to really get it, right? To rewire your brain to become a content creator, because it's the content you and we create in the world and in the web that actually attracts our audience to us. So I want to break this down because there's several types of content that I create each and every day, and they're different types of content. We need to create different content for different platforms, for example, right? So the first thing I'm thinking about usually most days is my content and conversion membership, my inner circle program, where I'm helping a group of people grow their businesses. So in this world, I'm inside of the forums every single day answering individuals' questions. I'm creating little touch points, little answer posts that get indexed by the forum software so other visitors can kind of search through and read through those question and answers in the future, but I'm instantly helping that individual overcome their challenge or problem. The number 2 thing I'm creating are deep dive trainings on specific topics. Right now, I'm actually putting together my most comprehensive web traffic course. It is an absolute behemoth, and that is, my goal is to release one of these per month. I've actually been doing a little bit more than that on average since launching the membership program. And these are just to go super deep with these individuals to teach them exactly what my wife and I are doing right now in order to grow our business. And for this video, or this training, is grow our traffic specifically. So I'm making those content. Then I'm also doing the reviews. Every other week, I'm doing a live stream video review. So I create these questionnaires where I get a bunch of submissions from members, and then I create those live videos every couple of weeks. So that's really the work on the membership level. Then we have the YouTube channel. I'm publishing 3 videos per week here to the YouTube channel. So I've got that production machine going on all week long. And then I'm jumping into the comments, generally speaking, about 4 or 5 times per week. And I'm answering a bunch of comments, right? I'm making those touch points with individuals that take time to ask me questions or give me props or give me shout outs in the comments. I love that opportunity to say, hey, what's up? Thanks for saying thanks, or answering their question, or linking them to a relevant video that solves the problem that they are seeking to solve. So that's how I'm creating content here on YouTube. And then we have the email list. Now, I'm mailing my email list every single day, and I've been on this daily email path for about 6 months. There's 2 massive benefits here. Number 1, I'm going to be honest, is pretty selfish. There's a huge benefit for me as a content creator, as a digital entrepreneur, to be looking in my environment at all times, to be looking behind my processes and what I'm doing day in and day out. And I'm trying to find those I'm playing observer, right? And I'm looking for those things I'm doing in my daily life that maybe have become second nature that I can share via email to help you and my other subscribers get more value and kind of make more progress on your business. So it really helps me kind of analyze what I'm doing, how I'm doing, why I'm doing what I'm doing. I look at my data a little bit more often, looking for those kind of golden nuggets to share via email. Obviously, on the other side, it's a great relationship maneuver. There's this old phrase that the money's in the list, which is a partial truth. The money is in the relationship you have with your email list. And if you're only emailing your list every, I don't know, like Cyber Monday, which is coming up, you're going to get a ton of emails from people who have not reached out to you for like a year. You're going to instantly unsubscribe because there's no relationship there. But if you're sending emails every day, every other day, you're really giving a lot of value, you're moving that relationship forward. And the whole game of digital business is still about relationships. It's a real business. These are real people on your list. So truly moving that relationship forward. Then I've got my podcasts and my YouTube and my blog, I have teams that publish to those. Generally, I'm doing about 3 per week to each of those. That's pretty hands-off for me. There was a time when I was doing all of that work, but now I'm just investing money to make sure it gets done. And I'm more project manager or overseeing that process. So that's how I am creating content every single day. I do think that is the number one biggest shift for new digital marketers and digital entrepreneurs, is to just become a producer of content. And the 90-day challenge is a great way to start that process and just to throw your hat over the fence. That idea means once you throw your hat over the fence, you got to climb over the fence to get your hat back, right? So commit to the 90-day challenge and then start publishing your content, whether it's videos, blog posts, or podcasts, and then go, go, go. You'll be amazed at what you create when you truly step into being a creator. Number 2, I meditate every day. I've been meditating every day for probably 15 years or more. I find that meditation helps me in 2 specific ways. And first of all, a lot of people kind of mix in meditation to their morning routine. I've done that. I've done that for 3 to 6 months straight to really test that for me. I like split testing these things in life too. I find that an afternoon meditation for me gives me the greatest value for time invested. Generally, it's a 25 to 45 minute meditation. Usually, I would say if I had to pick a time, it fluctuates a bunch. I'd say 2 o'clock is a pretty standard time. 2 o'clock, 2:30. When I'm kind of getting tired, I've done a lot throughout the beginning of the day. My head's got all kinds of ideas from all the different things that I've been dealing with and the challenges and the content I've been producing. And I want to have a productive evening session, late afternoon, evening. I want to get productive in that time. I don't want to turn to caffeine for more energy, right? I don't want to borrow from my future from the energy. I really want some natural energy and a clear mind to approach the challenges that I'm seeking to solve or the new course I'm creating, etc. And ultimately for me, that afternoon meditation is everything. It's that recharge. It helps me refill my willpower tank, helps me clear my thoughts and get ready and excited to take on the second half of my day. I think that's been one of the biggest hacks for me and Melanie as well for kind of achieving hyper productivity multiple times throughout a day. Number 3 is a clean diet. You know, there's a phrase, rubbish in, rubbish out, right? Like literally what you consume inside of your body is going to manifest in different ways. So if you're consuming Mountain Dew, Cheetos, frozen pizzas, and a bunch of processed foods that are filled with excitotoxins, that's going to be messing with your energy levels, your hormone levels, your digestive system, all the intelligence inside of your gut. I mean, on every single level of your body, it is going to be messing with you. And your body is essentially a gigantic, I don't know, something between a chemistry set and a pharmacy. And like we are, you know, the biochemical makeup of your body, the biochemical composition within your body is everything. You're either going to have sustained energy because you're eating real actual foods, or you're not because you're going to be eating fake foods and processed foods. So the big key takeaway here is eating real foods. And this has evolved for me. There was a time when I ate mostly vegetarian with a tiny bit of meat. Then I was doing vegetarian for a long time where I still consumed eggs. At this point, I'm eating a complete plant-based diet. I drink a ton of water every single day. Oh my gosh, like water and tea are probably what I consume most on the liquids side of things. And ultimately, really, I just think that look at where you're at from where you are right now and see how can can you mix in more plant-based items, more leafy greens, more actual foods, right? And what's an actual food? It's something that grows. Broccoli, kale, spinach, like they're real foods, right? If you look on the side of the box of whatever it is you're eating and it says excito, flyto, hybo, homo, homogenized, blah, blah, blahs, right? Like that's not good. That's chemicals. That's not actually food. So start to find ways to mix in more real foods. I think you'll be amazed at what your energy levels do. And for me, I feel like my brain works much more clear. I feel like I have more sustained, more real energy. I don't get that real like lag, that real deep like, oh man, I'm so like sluggish after that meal. I really don't hit that point anymore. I do a lot of just bowls of like quinoa and a vegetable, right? And quinoa beans and a vegetable. Create a complete protein inside of that there. A little bit of sauce, boom, a little tahini sauce. I'm all about it. It's actually a lot less expensive when you start to just eat real foods versus processed foods, and your body will respond a lot better. And ultimately, this is indeed a hack to get more quality energy, more clarity in your thought, in your mind, in your experience, so you can create better content for your audience. Number 4, I ask myself this question over and over and over. My wife does as well. How may I be of service to my audience today? I'm always thinking about you. I'm always thinking about what content can I create. Sometimes this idea leads me to an email idea that I send. Sometimes, like this video here, was like, oh man, I thought of the book title. I was like, oh man, I should do like a 7 habits of highly effective miles. Haha, that'd be funny. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll just do that, right? Like, and it's one of those ideas that when you ask yourself questions, your mind's going to try to answer those questions, right? Like, what's 4 plus 4? Your mind probably tried to answer that question. So it's a way to program yourself to kind of nudge yourself or prompt yourself to get better answers. And this is the question my wife and I, we really, really focus on this. How may I be of service to my audience today when I'm thinking of video topics, emails, courses? Am I going to publish this? Am I not? Am I going to promote this product or not? I get a lot of requests to promote pretty shady stuff sometimes. And I just run it through this. Like, would this be of service to my audience? So really kind of sticking with that like realization that I am here on earth to be of service to you. And that's what everything runs through. And I'm always looking for new ways and asking myself for new ways. How can I be of service to you? And I think when you take that perspective, you'll get lots more ideas about the content, right? Number 1 of create more than you consume. A lot of those ideas come from simply asking myself this question. Number 5, I exercise in nature every single day. Now, some people love exercising in gyms every day, and that's great. I think exercise is kind of the other side of clean eating, right? Like we have to do that. It actually creates more energy for you long term. So personally, I love to hike. I can hike somewhere between, on average, I would say 4 to 6 miles per day on a good day when the weather is permitting and it's not windy or cold or anything like that. In the summertime, I try to paddleboard almost every single day. So I'm out on the paddleboard paddling 2, 3, 4 miles a day, and I do a bunch of hiking in the summer when it's not too hot. But when it starts to get really hot, I like to be out on that water on the paddleboard. In the wintertime, I used to snowboard. I lived across the street from several ski resorts in the Lake Tahoe. I used to live on the North Shore of Lake Tahoe, so I would snowboard a bunch. Paddle surfing is something when I went nomad, which was after Tahoe, living on the beaches of Mexico and Costa Rica and even New Zealand, and when I was in Hawaii for several months, a lot of paddle surfing, right? Just playing in the waves. And for me, it's a way to, I think there's something powerful about being in nature. I think that being in nature is okay with what is, right? Like nature is static. Everything is imbalance in theory in nature, or it's slowly rebalancing itself on its own when there's not a bunch of input from us humans, right? So there's something powerful for me to be around a ecosystem that's in that state of balance. Mix that with the exercise component, and really that's where I kind of get another boost of energy as well. So it's kind of my opposite hack, or my other hack in with my meditation. Maybe I'll do another video here soon about my like daily schedule. So when I do different parts, because I'm noticing this is a little out of order based on like the chronological of how I go about it in a day. But every single day I'm out there in nature exercising, weather permitting. Obviously there's some days that it just doesn't work, but that's a big one for me. Number 6 is sobriety. When I was younger, and for a while I smoked a bunch of weed. I used to be frustrated with life. I used to, like, weed is the ultimate ability to just be like, F it, right? Like I had $50,000 in student loan debt. I wasn't able to afford basics of life. I had a lot of challenges. I've bounced off rock bottom several times in the process of trying to grow this business online. I've gone through my personal dark night of the soul. I've been making lots of money and have it go down to absolute zero because of a terms of service change from the platform I was marketing on. The road to where I'm at now has been incredibly challenging. And there was a time I turned to marijuana and alcohol as a mood alteration tool. I would alter my mood. It was essentially self-medication because I didn't like the way it felt to have to constantly think all day about the fact that I was making $4 or $5 grand a month off MySpace, and MySpace just effed me. So taking a bong rip was a quick way for me to be like, whatever, dude, like, F it, right? And I don't think that was very healthy. I don't think that was very helpful for me long term. It is a medicine, and I overused it as such for a longer period of time than I should have. And I hit a point where I just realized it wasn't serving me, and things were growing, and I was growing, and I was still ingesting marijuana on a very regular basis. And I just was like, man, if I can do this while being high half the day, like what could I do if I was just clear-headed all day, every day? And I was just done, like a light switch. It was just off at that point in time. I used to smoke cigarettes, and when I quit smoking cigarettes, it was the same thing. It was like a light switch. It just like, I was like, what am I doing? These things are killing me. Like, ugh. And I was done. I threw them away, and I've never touched a cigarette ever since. So marijuana was that. And then that was, man, like at this point, I'm probably like 4 years or more clean of marijuana. And then alcohol was one that stuck around. I think socially, alcohol has been extremely socially accepted. And in the nomad world, I spent a lot of time living in vacation areas because that's where there's furnished rentals. So everyone when I was living on the beaches of Mexico, right, everyone was going around drinking beers for breakfast and lunch, having margaritas for lunch. But I was like living real life, and it was easy to get caught up in that. I think it's also a type of mood alteration. I was using wine and scotch and beers sometimes in the evenings when it was 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I'm going to put in 3 more hours on my business, right? Like start at 6 in the morning and work until like 11, 12 o'clock at night, having a couple of glasses of scotch in the evening. It made me feel like I was maybe having fun while doing the work, but it turns out the work product was complete shit anyways. And sometimes I broke things, and it wasn't necessarily a very highly productive experience. And recently I just washed my hands of it too. And I'm about 2 years at this point consuming zero alcohol at all. And I have more clarity, my mental sharpness, my wits, how on top of it I am to bring these videos in one take with very minimal preparation, without thinking too much, without having to edit too much, without and uhing and stammering around. I really do attribute that to the kind of overall body and brain health, which is a combination of sobriety mixed with my diet. I really think what I'm ingesting is incredibly clean, and therefore I'm getting a really good kind of brain state of awareness that I'm able to bring to the table in each and every one of these. I was using it as a crutch. It was unhealthy. I let go of it. I'm really, really glad I did. But with that said, to each their own. If you're interested in potentially learning more, there was a book that helped me insurmountably, and it was called The Naked Mind, I believe it was called. And it's a book that, like, when I read that, I was frustrated because I was hungover. I was in New Zealand. I had plans the next day to go to some island that had all these rare birds, and I totally like checking out birds when they're flying around. Like, I just think like exotic birds in foreign countries are absolutely freaking cool to go see in nature. It was drizzly that morning. I woke up hungover. I decided not to go, and I was pissed at myself. I was like, dude, that's pretty lame. Like, literally, you're not gonna go, and I don't have a good sea leg, so like a rocky boat, me hungover, all bad. So that I was kind of like frustrated with myself. So I went to Reddit. Reddit has a stop drinking subreddit, and from that subreddit I learned about the book The Naked Mind. I read the book, something happened in my brain, I flipped that switch. I haven't even thought about it. I just no interest at all. I was just at a wedding where everybody was just partying. I was dancing, having a good time, clean, so stone cold sober. There you go. So I don't know. It's possible. I don't think it's healthy. It is a type of a poison. I don't think it helps your mind. I don't think it helps the clarity. So take of that what you will. Number 7, wake up early. This is a lot easier for me to do when I'm sober and when I'm eating clean and consuming clean things. I also think the other side of this is go to bed early. I go to bed, and I'm saying me, right? I'm not trying to tell you, like, this is me explaining my habits that I believe help me the greatest in growing and maintaining this business that my wife and I have created. Oftentimes I'm in bed by 9 o'clock, right? Like I'm especially now we're getting the shorter days because of the seasons here in the northern hemispheres. Man, it's dark at 6. Like by 9 o'clock, I'm half asleep on the couch, right? Like got my phone in my hand reading, maybe watching something on Netflix for a little bit, and I'm just like, I'd rather just go to sleep. So I go to sleep at 9. I wake up naturally, oftentimes around 5:30. I'm usually at my desk with a cup of coffee by like 6 in the morning, and that allows me to work from 6 in the morning till 7 or 8 at night. Get a really, really long day broken up with my food, my exercise, my meditation, and I'll tell you how I structure all that in a future video. And that's really it. That is all of it. I think that those early morning hours are so much more productive, even for people who are non-morning people, right? I literally think that every human being is able to get more done in the morning hours than the afternoon hours. There's obviously some anomaly out there. Again, this is a personal belief. And since I've really doubled down on that and gone with that, I can find some days I'm up at 5:30 working. By noon, I'm absolutely astonished at everything I've got done. I've got all my have-tos done, and then I get to get into big picture mode, working on these next really big trainings that are very difficult to put together for the content and conversion members. I hope this has been helpful. If you've enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, feel free to get at me in the comments. If you know anybody who needs to hear this message or see this video, you can embed this video if you'd like. Just give me a link back to milesbeckler.com. If you do embed it, just to give me a shout out as the creator of this. You can share it in a Facebook group or whatever. Do what you do. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the shares. I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, this is just what I've chosen to do on my life path and a little bit of why. And if this inspires you in some way to maybe take a step in another direction, good on you. Again, any questions, just let me know. Thumbs up, subscribe, like. I appreciate you. I will catch you on the next video because I have another video coming out in a couple of days. And until we meet again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Be well.